Today we're tackling something really practical. I think the everyday art of talking about your routine in English.
Yeah, definitely practical.
We've got this guide here, and it seems designed specifically for that purpose. It's packed with phrases, examples, the whole lot.
That's right. And you can think of this source material as, well, like a foundational blueprint. It takes these seemingly simple actions of your day and breaks down how to describe them clearly and, naturally, confidently.
And our mission, really, for this deep dive is to unpack this guide. Not just read it, but understand the core bits it offers and, crucially, why they work. Because let's face it, describing what you do day to day, it's not just filler conversation.
No, not at all.
It's pretty fundamental. It's how you share your life, connect with people, and, frankly, build confidence speaking the language.
Absolutely. If you can comfortably talk about how you spend your time, you've really unlocked a huge part of basic communication. So this dive is all about pulling out the tools from this guide to help you do exactly that.
Okay, so let's jump right in. The source material kicks off with what it calls the foundational phrases.
Right.
Now, when I first looked at this list, I thought, okay, these are simple. I brush my teeth.
Very straightforward.
But the guide presents them as these essential building blocks. Why do you think it starts with these specific actions? What's the logic there?
Well, that's a great point. The source picks these because they really cover the absolute core anchor points of, well, almost any typical day, right?
It seems like it.
Waking up, getting ready, starting work or school, meals, ending the day, going to bed, the big milestones. The guide even says they're very common in everyday English, and that's key for someone learning.
Right. High frequency stuff.
Exactly. By focusing on these actions first, you immediately get language that's useful, relevant, and widely understood.
Right. And the structure is incredibly simple, isn't it? It's just subject, verb, maybe a time or place.
Yeah.
Like, I wake up at 7, or I go to work. There's no complex grammar right at the start.
Precisely. And that simplicity, it lowers the cognitive load. You're not battling complex sentences while just trying to say you ate breakfast.
Yeah, good point.
You build confidence by mastering these direct statements first. They're effective because they just get the essential information across clearly.
Okay, but just having a list of phrases, that only takes you so far.
True.
So the guide then shows how these actually come together in a sample conversation. It's between two friends, Anna and Jake.
Yes, and this part's vital.
Why is that? How does seeing it in context add value here?
Well, because language isn't just isolated sentences, right? It's interaction, it's flow. So the sample conversation, it shows how those foundational phrases actually appear, but also, importantly, how they get sort of expanded and become more natural in a real exchange.
Okay, so let's look at that. Anna kicks it off, asking Jake the main question. What's your daily routine like?
The classic opener.
And Jake, he doesn't just list things robotically using only those basic phrases. He says he usually wakes up around 6:30, takes a quick shower, makes coffee.
Right there, usually. Around, quick shower. Little additions that make it sound real.
Yeah. And when Anna asks about breakfast, he adds more nuance. Sometimes, if I have time, he'll grab a banana and head to work.
Exactly. Notice usually and sometimes straight away.
Yeah.
That adds crucial info about frequency.
Right.
And quick shower adds a bit more detail than just take a shower and head to work.
Yeah.
That's a really common, slightly more informal way to say go to work.
Yeah, it flows better.
The guide is subtly showing you how to, enrich those basic building blocks, make them your own.
And the conversation keeps going. Jake talks about his evening getting home. He cooks dinner and chills, sometimes watches a show or reads.
Chills, another good colloquialism there.
Yeah. And then Anna shares her evening activity, mentioning yoga helps her relax, which gets Jake's reaction. That's a great idea. I should try that.
And that shows the flow, the back and forth. You describe your action, the other person reacts, maybe shares theirs.
It becomes a real conversation.
Exactly. The guide includes not just the actions, but also how people might comment. The implied sounds busy or that's cool reactions and how they respond to each other.
Yeah.
It moves you from just describing your day in a vacuum to actually sharing it with someone.
Okay, but the guide doesn't just stop at giving you phrases and examples. There's a really strong emphasis on practice, specifically speaking out loud.
Yes, that's crucial.
Why is that step so important, according to the source? Why speaking aloud?
Well, the guide is very clear on this. It says, speaking out loud is one of the best ways to build fluency.
Okay.
The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And honestly, that's spot on. Reading or listening, that helps with comprehension, definitely.
Sure.
But speaking, that engages different parts of your brain. It builds muscle memory, literally in your mouth and throat for making the sound. It's active recall.
Active recall.
Yeah, pulling the language out and
Wow.
using it yourself, spontaneously, not just recognizing it.
Right. And I liked how the guide gives you specific questions to prompt this practice. Things like, what time do you wake up? Or what do you do after work or school?
Yes, those questions immediately force you to personalize the language. It gets you thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just repeating sentences parrot fashion. You're using the structure, the vocabulary, to describe your actual day.
It's your own routine.
Exactly. And that kind of active application is just far more effective for making it stick, for building fluency, than just passively reading stuff over.
Makes sense. And speaking of making your description sound natural and personal,
Yeah.
the final element the guide brings in is a tip of the day.
Ah, yes, the little bit of polish.
The polish, exactly. And the tip is use transition words.
Okay.
The guide lists words like usually, sometimes, then, after that, and finally. How do these simple words actually elevate your description? What's the impact?
Well, this is really where you add flow and coherence,
Yeah.
connection. Think about it. Without transition words, describing your day can sound really choppy. Like a list.
Yeah.
I wake up, I brush teeth, I eat breakfast, I go to work. It's very disconnected.
Right, like bullet points.
Exactly. But the guide gives this example. I usually wake up at 7. Then I brush my teeth and take a shower. After that, I have breakfast and go to work.
Ah, okay. The difference is huge. It moves from just a list of events to more of a narrative flow.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Usually sets the expectation about frequency, like we saw with Jake.
Mm.
Then and after that,
Yeah.
clearly sequence the actions in time. You know what comes first, what comes next, and finally would signal, the last step in whatever sequence you're describing. These words don't just make it sound smoother.
Right.
They actually help the person listening follow the sequence of your day much more easily.
Yeah.
You're not just stating facts, you're guiding them through your timeline.
So pulling all this together then, what we've unpacked from this guide, it gives you the fundamental actions as basic phrases,
The building blocks.
shows you how they adapt and expand in a real conversation, makes them flexible.
Stresses the absolute need to speak out loud to make it yours,
Practice, practice, practice.
and offers that simple but really powerful tool of transition words to add that essential flow.
Yeah, the core takeaway from this source guide seems to be that building this skill, talking about your daily routine, it's completely achievable. You focus on these key components. It's about starting simple with those essential descriptions and then gradually adding the detail, the connection, the sequence. These tools turn the simple list of your day into clear, confident communication.
And mastering this seemingly basic skill, just being able to describe the rhythm of your own life, it feels like such a powerful step in building overall confidence in speaking English.
Oh, absolutely.
It's practical, it's personal, and it's something you can use instantly.
It really is. It gives you the language to share your fundamental experience day in, day out.
So here's something to think about. When you describe your day, action by action, using these tools we talked about, you're not just reporting facts, are you? You're actually building a narrative.
Interesting way to put it.
So what stories are actually hidden within those seemingly mundane details of your own routine? And maybe how does the simple act of talking about your day instantly connect you to other people who are also just navigating the rhythm of theirs?